Hello, my wonderful friends. If you're over 50, 60, or even 70, I want you to stop everything you're doing right now and listen very carefully. Because what you do before you go to bed each night may be the biggest reason why your muscles are shrinking day after day. Yes, sarcopenia, the silent muscle thief, is real, but it doesn't have to steal from you anymore. Today, I'm going to share one powerful nighttime habit that can help preserve your muscles, improve your sleep, and help you wake up feeling stronger, not weaker. My friends, let's have a serious heart-to-heart right now, because this is something most people ignore until it's too late, and I don't want that to happen to you. What if I told you that starting around the age of 50, something begins to quietly work against you every single day, something invisible, something you can't feel right away, but over time it changes the way you move, the way you feel, and even the way you think. I'm talking about muscle loss, specifically age-related muscle loss, or what the medical community calls sarcopenia. Now, I know you may be thinking, Dr. Gardner, I still feel strong, I walk, I garden, I move around just fine, and I believe you. But muscle loss doesn't show up with a big flashing warning sign. It's gradual, subtle. And by the time most people notice it, it's already taken a huge toll on their strength, their independence, and their quality of life. Let me break it down for you in plain terms. And here's the thing. It's not just about how much weight you can lift at the gym. It's about how confidently you can get up from a chair. It's about how steady you are walking down the stairs. It's about whether you can carry your groceries, play with your grandchildren, or even get out of bed in the morning without pain or hesitation. Muscle is your strength, yes, but it's also your mobility, your metabolism, your balance, your bone protection, and even your immune system. And here sits where it gets even more serious. When muscle disappears, fat starts to take its place, but this isn't the kind of fat you can easily see in the mirror. This is something called intramuscular fat. It gets stored inside the muscle tissue. That's right, your muscles become marbled with fat, just like a piece of steak, and this fat disrupts muscle function, reduces strength, and increases inflammation in the body. So now, not only are you losing strength, but your body is becoming more prone to disease, fatigue, poor blood sugar control, and injury. Still with me? Good, because now we're going to go deeper into why this happens. You see, when you were younger, say in your 20s, 30s, and even early 40s, your body had a natural balance between muscle protein synthesis, which is building muscle, and muscle protein breakdown, which is losing muscle. But as we age, that balance shifts. The body doesn't respond to protein and resistance in the same way. It takes more effort and more intentional choices just to maintain the same level of muscle that once came easily. If you don't stimulate your muscles, and if you don't nourish your body properly, your muscle protein breakdown starts to outpace your ability to rebuild. It's like having a savings account that you're constantly withdrawing from, but never depositing into. Eventually, the balance goes to zero. Now, let me ask you something. Have you ever noticed how easy it is to become winded doing something simple, like climbing stairs or getting up from the floor, when a few years ago it didn't even faze you? Or how your legs feel just a little less steady when you step out of the shower? Or how your grip strength has changed? You find jars a little tougher to open, or you drop things more often? These are not just signs of getting older. These are red flags of muscle loss. And if you're not paying attention, the body will just keep going down that path. But here's the good news. This process is not irreversible. That's right. No matter how old you are, you can slow, stop, and in many cases even reverse muscle loss. The human body is incredibly adaptable. When you give it the right inputs like protein resistance training and restorative sleep, it begins to shift. It starts to rebuild. It strengthens itself. And that's exactly why I'm so passionate about educating you about this. Because I've seen too many people in their 60s, 70s, even 80s who feel like their best years are behind them, when in reality, with the right guidance, those years can become their strongest, healthiest, and most vibrant chapter yet. But it starts with awareness. It starts with understanding that if you do nothing, muscle loss will keep happening, silently, relentlessly. And it won't stop just because you hope it will. That's why everything you do today matters. Whether it's taking a 20-minute walk, doing 10 squats by your bed, or choosing a protein-rich snack before bedtime, these small actions add up to a powerful defense against sarcopenia. Imagine yourself 10 years from now walking with energy, getting out of a chair with ease, carrying your groceries like it's no big deal, and enjoying life with the strength and freedom that most people your age only dream of. That's not fantasy. That's not hype. That's what happens when you take muscle loss seriously and act early. So don't wait until the symptoms are obvious. Don't wait until you fall. Don't wait until your doctor tells you that your muscle mass is dangerously low. Start today. You are not powerless. You are not too old. Your body is listening. Give it what it needs, and it will reward you in ways you can't even imagine. You've got this, and I'm with you every step of the way. Let stats stay strong together. Let me ask you something that most people never really think about. What exactly is your body doing while you sleep? You might say, resting, sure, that's part of it. You might say, dreaming. Absolutely, if you're lucky. But what many people, especially those of us in our golden years, don't realize is this: sleep is when your body does its most important healing work. That includes repairing, rebuilding, and strengthening your muscles. Yes, my friend. It's during those quiet hours when the lights are out and the world is still that your body goes into full restoration mode. And if you're over 50 or 60, this becomes not just helpful, but essential. See, every day that you move your body, whether you walk, stretch, lift light weights, or even just climb stairs, you're creating tiny micro tears in your muscles. Now, don't let that word tear scare you. This is a good thing. It's how growth happens. But growth only happens when the repair process kicks in. And that process happens while you sleep. Your body uses your sleep time to direct hormones, enzymes, and nutrients to those little tears. It starts stitching them back together, stronger and more resilient than before. That's the natural way your body maintains strength and function. But here sits where most people miss the mark. If your body doesn't have the right tools, especially amino acids from protein, it can't complete that repair. And that's when the problems begin. See, in the absence of those amino acids, your body doesn't just wait around patiently. No, it starts breaking down other muscle tissue to get what it needs. That's right, you start cannibalizing your own muscle just to stay balanced through the night. That's why what you do before bedtime is so crucial, and that's what most people don't realize. They think, I ate enough at dinner, I'll be fine, or I shouldn't eat before bed, it might make me gain weight. But what they're not thinking about is this: aging bodies are less efficient at holding on to nutrients, and muscle tissue is harder to preserve than ever. When you sleep for 6, 7, or 8 hours or longer, if you're lucky, you're going through a long fast. No food, no fuel, no building blocks. And during that time, your body is still working behind the scenes, repairing cells, restoring tissues, and regulating hormones. But when it's missing critical nutrients, especially protein, it defaults to breakdown mode. And this is what drives slow, steady muscle loss for so many seniors. It's not because they're not active. It's not because they're not trying. It's because their body is running on an empty tank during the hours it needs the most support. You know, we often hear people say, you are what you eat, but I'll take it one step further. You are what you absorb, what you utilize, and what your body has access to when it needs it the most, especially while you sleep. And here sits the beautiful part. You can change this. You can support your body during sleep, and in doing so, you can dramatically improve your ability to retain and rebuild muscle, even in your 60s, 70s, and beyond. Think of your bedtime as the moment before your body begins its nightly construction shift. The foreman, your brain, shows up and says, all right, team, let's rebuild this muscle. But if the materials didn't arrive, that shift is canceled. Or worse, it turns into a demolition project, stripping away resources just to keep essential systems running. You want your body to build, not break, and that means making sure those materials, especially amino acids from high-quality protein, are on site before you fall asleep. Now, I know some of you might be saying, but I sleep just fine. I feel okay in the morning. And it certainly isn't the same as preserving your muscle mass and protecting your strength for the future. In fact, many people don't even realize that poor muscle recovery is what's causing their fatigue, their morning stiffness, or that feeling of being off when they get up. When your body is undernourished at night, it doesn't just affect your muscles, it affects your energy, your mood, your hormones, your brain health, and even your immune system. Let me give you a simple example. Have you ever woken up sore after a long walk or workout the day before? That soreness? That's your body's SIP's way of saying, hey, we didn't finish fixing things last night. And if that happens often, it's a sign that your recovery system isn't being supported. But when you give your body the right tools, something as simple as a scoop of casein protein, a couple of boiled eggs, or some cottage cheese, those building blocks get delivered just in time for the repair crew to get to work. And guess what happens then? You start waking up with more energy. You notice your strength improving instead of declining. That's not magic. That's biology working in your favor. So I want you to understand this clearly. The hours between bedtime and morning are your greatest opportunity to either build strength or lose it. You don't have to eat a full meal. You don't have to overthink it. You just have to give your body a small dose of what it's asking for, slow digesting protein and a chance to heal. Because when you sleep, your body listens. It works, it repairs, it restores, but only if you show up for it. Used or not too old. It sits not too late. And your best days are not behind you. Give your body the right support at night, and it will give you strength in the morning. Trust me, friend, your muscles will thank you. And it's this what you eat before bed. And when I sit down with them and ask, what do you eat before you go to bed? The answer is almost always the same. Nothing. Maybe a banana. Sometimes a few crackers. Or I skip eating at night so I don't gain weight. Now listen to me closely because this is a huge moment for your health. If you're going to bed without fueling your muscles, you are literally allowing your body to waste away while you sleep. That's not an exaggeration. That's the physiology of aging. And unless you interrupt it intentionally, it just keeps going. You see, after the age of 50, your body becomes what I call an expensive machine. It needs more maintenance, more precision, more intention. You can't just wing it anymore. Your metabolism slows. Your hormones shift and your ability to build or preserve muscle declines significantly unless you feed it exactly what it needs. And what it needs before sleep is protein, not carbs, not sugar, not empty calories. Protein, specifically slow digesting protein. Let me explain why. When you go to bed, your body enters a long fast. You may not eat for 8 to 10 hours. That means for that entire time, there are no new nutrients coming in. Yet your body is still working hard, repairing tissue, balancing hormones, detoxifying your organs, and rebuilding damaged muscle fibers. If there's no protein in the system, your body still has to get those amino acids from somewhere. So what does it do? It starts breaking down your own muscle tissue, yes, your hard-earned muscle, so it can pull the amino acids out and use them to keep things running. And here's the kicker. That muscle loss happens so slowly that you don't even notice it until one day you realize you can't lift the same grocery bags, get out of the chair with ease, or walk upstairs without gripping the handrail. That SIP's not aging. That SIP's undernourished recovery. Now, let's flip the script. Let's say you eat a small amount of slow digesting protein about 30 to 60 minutes before you go to bed. Something easy on the stomach like casein protein, a scoop of low-fat Greek yogurt, a couple boiled eggs, or cottage cheese with almonds. Now your body has a steady stream of amino acids available through the night. No panic, no breakdown. Instead of stripping away muscle, your body says, fantastic, I've got what I need. So it shifts into repair mode, rebuilding damaged fibers, strengthening what was weak, and preserving what you worked for. That, my friend, is how you age with strength, not weakness. That is how you slow down sarcopenia, not with supplements or shortcuts, but with smart, targeted nutrition. I know some of you may be thinking, but once eating before bed make me gain weight. That's one of the biggest myths I hear, and I want to set the record straight right now. It's not eating before bed that causes weight gain. It's eating the wrong foods. If you eat ice cream, chips, cake, bread, or cereal before bed, yes, you're probably going to pack on body fat over time. But a small protein-rich snack will not spike your blood sugar. It won't mess with your insulin. In fact, it helps stabilize your metabolism, supports hormone balance, and improves your overnight recovery. Plus, slow digesting protein helps reduce nighttime hunger and improves the quality of your sleep. Why? Because it fuels the body's repair system, so it doesn't have to wake you up at 3 a.m. in a desperate search for nutrients. Let me share a quick story. I told him to start having a small portion of Greek yogurt with chia seeds or a scoop of casein and almond milk before bed. That's it. Nothing fancy. That's the power of one small change. You don't need to overhaul your entire life. You don't need to stress or restrict or diet your way to better muscle. You just need to be intentional with what you do at the right times, especially before bed. So here's my simple recommendation to you. Tonight, instead of skipping food completely or reaching for sugary snacks, choose one small protein-based food. You're not trying to stuff yourself. You're simply feeding your body with what it needs to recover. Do that consistently, and you'll start to notice your muscles feel more toned, your sleep feels deeper, your morning stiffness improves, and over time you start stronger, not weaker. The solution isn't in another pill, another promise, or another fad, because here sits what I believe and what I know to be true. You are never too old to rebuild. You are never too far gone to begin again, and your muscles are listening to what you do. So talk to them tonight, not with words, but with protein, intention, and care. Fuel them before bed, and they'll reward you with strength every single day. You deserve to wake up feeling powerful, not powerless. Let's make that happen, starting tonight. Let's talk about movement, but not just any movement. A few minutes of light, intentional resistance exercise in the evening, right before bed. It might sound simple, it might sound too easy to make a difference, but I promise you this, for anyone over 50, 60, or 70, those few minutes could be the key to keeping your muscles strong, your joints stable, and your independence intact. See, most people think muscle is built in the gym. Nope. Muscle is built during rest, yes, but it's signaled during movement. Let me explain. Every time you challenge your muscles, even just a little, you send a very clear message to your body. Hey, these muscles are still needed. Don't throw them away. That message is everything. So if your muscles sit quietly all day, especially into the evening, your body thinks, okay, we don't need that tissue anymore. Let's break it down. That's how sarcopenia sneaks in, not from age alone, but from disuse. But here sits where the magic comes in. When you do just 5 to 10 minutes of gentle resistance movement before bed, you flip the switch. You tell your muscles, your stir still important, your stir still part of the plan. That signal triggers your nervous system, your muscle fibers, your hormones, and it prepares your body to recover and rebuild while you sleep. That's the perfect setup, and the best part, you don't need a gym, you don't need fancy equipment, you don't need just sweat buckets. You just need your body, your breath, and a bit of consistency. Let me paint a picture for you. Let's say it's 8:30 in the evening, you've already had dinner, you're winding down, maybe watching TV or reading. Before you get into bed, you take just 7 minutes to move your body with purpose. You stand by your bed or a wall and you do 10 chair squats, nice and slow, 10 wall push-ups with control, 10 standing leg raises, each side, 10 arm circles or shoulder rolls to loosen your upper body, maybe a few calf raises to keep those feet and ankles awake. That's it. No sweat, no strain, no pain, just activation. And you know what's happening while you're doing those simple movements? You increasing blood flow to the muscles. You're releasing myokines. Those are signaling proteins that tell your body to rebuild muscle. You're improving insulin sensitivity, which helps nutrients go exactly where they're needed. And this is big. You're priming your muscles to respond better to the protein you eat before bed. See, movement and nutrition go hand in hand. One without the other is like putting a seed in the ground with no sunlight or giving sunlight to dry soil without planting anything. But when you move and feed your muscles in the evening, you give them exactly what they need to grow, not shrink. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, Dr. Gardner, I can do squats, my knees hurt, I have arthritis. Let me tell you something. If you can't squat, sit and stand from a chair with your hands for support. If you can't do wall push-ups, try gentle arm presses, or even squeeze your fists tightly for 10 seconds at a time. If your legs aren't stable, do movements lying down in bed, like leg lifts or ankle pumps. The point isn't to be perfect. The point is to activate, to engage, to let your body know that you're still in the game. Because when you move your body, even for just a few minutes, you're telling your brain, this person is still living, still fighting, still growing, and your brain responds with better balance, better focus, and better sleep. Yes, better sleep too. Light resistance movement before bed isn't just good for your muscles, it helps release tension, calm the nervous system, and set you up for a deeper, more restorative sleep. And as you already know, sleep is where the rebuilding happens. Let me share a quick story with you. I once worked with a woman named Eileen. She was 74, had early signs of sarcopenia, and was losing confidence in her ability to move. She told me, I feel like I'm fading, but she was willing to try. We started her with just 5 minutes of chair-based movement each night. That's it. Nothing strenuous, but she did it every night before bed, and she paired it with a little protein snack, just like we talked about. Within 2 weeks, she told me, I feel steadier. By week 4, she was walking longer without fatigue. By month 2, her daughter called me and said, I don't know what you did, but my mom is back. That sets the power of simple, consistent action. You don't need to become a bodybuilder. You don't need to push yourself to exhaustion. You just need to show up for your muscles, even for 5 minutes, especially at the end of the day. Because those minutes are a signal, and when that signal is repeated consistently, your body gets the message loud and clear. Keep the muscle, don't let it go. You are not broken, you are not too old, your muscles are not gone, they're waiting for you to call them back into action. So tonight, before you go to bed, take those few quiet minutes, turn off the noise, stand up, move gently, feel the blood flow, and remind yourself, I'm still here, I still matter, and I'm not giving up my strength without a fight. Because growing older doesn't have to mean growing weaker. Not if you move with purpose, not if you feed your body well, and not if you keep believing that every day, every night, you have the power to rebuild. Yes, I've got this. Take a deep breath with me for a moment, in through the nose and out through the mouth. Now, I want you to really pause and ask yourself, when was the last time you allowed your body to fully relax before bed? Not just fall asleep from exhaustion or habit, but truly ease into rest? Because here's what I've learned after decades of working with older adults, seniors, and beautiful human beings in their 50s, 60s, 70s, and beyond. Most people are carrying far more stress in their bodies than they realize. And that stress, it doesn't just affect your mind. It directly impacts your muscle health. Yes, that's right. Chronic stress, tight muscles, and shallow breathing, all of it influences your body's ability to recover, rebuild, and preserve muscle as you age. We've already talked about how protein is your building block and how light evening movement signals your body to stay strong. But there's one more powerful tool that people constantly overlook. And it's so simple, so quiet, and so accessible that you might underestimate it. Stretching. Gentle, mindful stretching before bed is one of the most effective ways to support your muscle health, not just physically, but neurologically and hormonally too. When you stretch with intention, slow, steady movements, you start not just loosening tight muscles, you start doing much more than that. You start communicating with your nervous system. You start saying, it's safe to let go now. It's okay to release. And that release activates the parasympathetic nervous system, also known as your rest and digest mode. That's the part of your nervous system that allows you to calm down, sleep deeply, digest your food, and begin cellular repair, including muscle repair. Without that activation, you may fall asleep, but your body stays in a light, restless state, the kind of sleep that doesn't restore, the kind that doesn't allow for full recovery. And over time, that contributes to a silent decline, not just in energy or focus, but in muscle tissue too. Now here sits something you may not know. When you're in a constant state of low-level stress, which many people are without realizing it, your body produces more cortisol, the stress hormone. Cortisol isn't inherently bad. It has a purpose, but when it stays elevated too long, especially in the evening, it blocks muscle protein synthesis, breaks down lean tissue, and signals your body to store fat instead of rebuilding strength. And this happens to millions of people every night without them even noticing. But when you stretch before bed, you reverse that process. You bring your body out of defense mode, you lower cortisol, you improve circulation, you encourage deep healing rest, and you allow your muscles to do what they were designed to do, recover. This doesn't mean you need to do yoga or get into complicated poses. No. It can be as simple as sitting in your chair, reaching toward your toes gently and breathing, rolling your shoulders backward and forward, tilting your head side to side, stretching your calves against the wall, lying in bed and pulling your knees to your chest. Each of these movements is like a whisper to your nervous system. You are safe, you are supported, you can relax now. And guess what happens when your body hears that whisper night after night? It begins to trust you again. It sleeps better. It digests better. It holds on to more lean muscle. It moves more fluidly in the morning. It stops breaking down tissue unnecessarily. You start to feel whole again. We added one small thing to his nightly routine, 5 minutes of guided stretching and breath work before bed. At first he didn't think much of it. Just breathing and stretching, he said. But within a couple of weeks he noticed something. His mornings wouldn't sit as stiff, his joints felt smoother, his posture improved. And the big surprise? His grip strength came back. Because when his body was finally able to rest and recover without stress, it stopped eating away at his muscle. It started holding on, building, repairing. That's the power of peace, the strength of stillness. You see, we live in a world that teaches us to do more, push harder, go faster, but real muscle health, lasting strength after 60 doesn't just come from action, it comes from balance, effort and ease, challenge and calm, motion and stillness. So I want you to ask yourself tonight, as you're getting ready for bed, have I stretched my body with kindness today? Because that small act, just a few minutes, could mean the difference between muscle preservation and muscle breakdown. Let's not underestimate the power of softness, the power of grace, the power of listening to your body's quiet needs. There is strength in effort, yes, but there is also tremendous strength in knowing when to release. So tonight, before you pull those covers over your shoulders, take a moment, stand tall, reach up slowly, bend gently, breathe deeply, let your muscles know they're safe, they're supported, they are not under attack, and then let the night do its work. Your body is waiting, your recovery is ready. All it takes is your willingness to pause and stretch your way into restoration. You are not too old, you are not too far gone. You are exactly where you need to be. Now give yourself the gift of stillness so your muscles can give you the gift of strength. One breath, one stretch, one quiet moment at a time.